What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports and Match you guys with another video. In this video, I'm here with players the LA Chargers should look to target with NFL free agency approaching. Now, the LA Chargers, they have a couple of needs. I think they could use a cornerback. They need to improve the offensive line because they did lose a few offensive linemen. And they could use an additional wide receiver as well. Now, when it comes to the quarterback position, I don't really have a quarterback on here because I believe that the LA Chargers should look to draft the quarterback in the NFL draft. Try to get a guy like, maybe you find a way to get #1 overall pick by trying to trade up the Bengals and getting Joe Burrow, or you trade up and try to get Tua Tagovailoa, or you draft Justin Herbert. I think the LA Chargers should look to try to get one of those three quarterbacks because all three of those quarterbacks should be able to start day one for the LA Chargers instead of the LA Chargers hitting the free agency market and paying a big salary to a free agent quarterback and eating up most of their cap space and not being able to sign other needs that they need to worry about. So I think the LA Chargers, to save themselves some money, they should worry about addressing the quarterback needs and the NFL draft. Try to trade up to get one of those three quarterbacks I just mentioned and spend the rest of their money addressing other needs, because I think these other needs are way more important than spending money in free agency, paying a guy like Teddy Bridgewater a lot of money and not having the weapons around them to be successful. So I think the LA Chargers should focus more on trying to build those pieces to help whoever ends up being a starting quarterback next season for them to be successful, rather than spending all their money on the quarterback and him not having the tools around him to be successful. So before I get into it, make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps this video rank higher in the YouTube algorithm, YouTube search, all that good stuff. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel because I upload XFL videos, NFL videos daily. And the first player that I think the LA Chargers should look to target in free agency is offensive tackle Germani Ifedi. Now, Germani Ifedi played for the Seattle Seahawks last season, and it was pretty much his best season of his whole entire career. Now, I know a lot of you guys are probably going to go on Pro Football Focus. You're going to be like, oh, look at his Pro Football Focus grade. He is terrible. We should not sign him. The Pro Football Focus is really weird because a player could be really good but have a really bad grade, and this is the case for Germani Ifedi. If you look up several articles on several Seattle Seahawks websites and all over the internet, it's several articles praising about how good he was for the Seattle Seahawks during the season and how he was one of the biggest, most important pieces to that Seattle Seahawks offense. So don't let the Pro Football Focus grade tear you away from the fact that this guy will be a very good pickup for the LA Chargers, and this guy is a very solid starter. And also, one of the biggest things about him is that you can get it for a pretty reasonable deal. I don't think he's going to be a guy that demands a pretty big market value contract or something like that. So I think he'll be a pretty good fit for the LA Chargers because I think one of the needs that they need to address is one of those offensive tackle spots. So whoever ends up being the starting quarterback next season can have some protection on that offensive line. I think that's one of the most important things in the NFL is the offensive line. The next player who I think the LA Chargers should look to target in free agency is another offensive lineman. I have Brandon Scherff. Now, Brandon Scherff was an offensive guard for the Washington Redskins. He's 26 years old, so he's very young, has a lot of good years of football left ahead of him, and he's probably going to demand a big chunk of money. But if I'm the LA Chargers, I'd rather dish out big money to offensive linemen than I would a quarterback, because listen, if you have a good offensive line, it doesn't really matter who you have at the quarterback position, man. I mean, you could have whoever back there. If they have time to sit back there and throw the football, they're going to end up being, most of the time, at least above average or average quarterback if you give them a good offensive line. Plus, you look at the weapons that they have Keenan Allen already. They're bringing back Hunter Henry. I believe they're going to end up franchise tagging him. You also got Mike Williams as well. So, I mean, they have a lot of weapons when it comes to the passing game and the receivers rise. So, if they address offensive line, I think that this could be a really good team going into 2020. Really, the offensive line wasn't all the big of a reason why the LA Chargers were not successful. Most of the time it was because of Phillip Rivers turning the ball over a lot, but also they did give up a good amount of pressure. So I think the LA Chargers should look to improve the offensive line, and I think Brandon Sheriff would be able to improve that offensive line tremendously. So I think Brandon Sheriff, Jamani Afadi would be two good smash mouth pickups for the LA Chargers in free agency. Next up, addressing the wide receiver position, I think they should go after wide receiver Breshad Perriman. Now, Breshad Perriman in 2019 had a career-saving year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had 645 receiving yards, 36 receptions, and 6 touchdowns. Now, for the LA Chargers, you're not bringing in Breshad Perriman to end up being your number one wide receiver or anything like that, but you're bringing in Breshad Perriman to possibly be your third or fourth wide receiver on your depth chart, and I think Breshad Perriman would be pretty good enough that he can end up being that third receiver for the LA Chargers. And he reminds me a lot of Travis Benjamin, but I think he's a lot better than Travis Benjamin because Breshad Perriman, he's big in size, he has elite speed, and he's also very good catching the deep ball as well. So, I mean, you got Keenan Allen, who's very good at running the intermediate routes, and then you have Mike Williams and Breshad Perriman on the outside, who are two very good deep threats. Mike Williams is more as a guy who is more as not really much of a burner, but a guy who can catch those 50-50 contested catches on those deep balls, and Breshad Perriman is more of a burner on the outside, which he can make a lot of big plays in the vertical passing game with how big and fast that he is. So I think Breshad Perriman would be a pretty good number 3 wide receiver or number 4 wide receiver for the LA Chargers, and you could sign him for a pretty reasonable deal. I don't think it'll be anything that will majorly affect the cap. Now, moving on to the defense side of the ball, I think the LA Chargers should look to address their linebacker position, and I think one linebacker they should specifically look to go after is linebacker Corey Littleton. Now, Corey Littleton in 2019 had 78 tackles, 3.5 sacks, had 2 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. Now, Corey Littleton is regarded as the best coverage linebacker in the NFL right now, and for the LA Chargers, I think they could use additional linebacker. Now, I'm not saying their linebacker core is terrible or anything like that, but I think Corey Littleton would be a huge upgrade for them, and if they're able to get Corey Littleton, I think their defense is going to be a lot better because you pair Corey Littleton, a linebacker that's really good in coverage, probably the best coverage linebacker that we have in the NFL right now. You pair him up with guys like Derwin James. I mean, I think that defense for the LA Chargers could be really, really good. Then, additionally, you also got Melvin Ingram, and you also got Joey Bosa up front. And then on the side of the quarterback for the 2 edge rushers for them. So, I mean, I think Corey Littleton would be a very good pickup for the LA Chargers if they're able to get him. Now, Corey Littleton is probably going to demand a pretty solid salary, maybe a lot more. But I'm comfortable paying Corey Littleton because, listen, it's hard to, in this day and age in the NFL, you got to have linebackers that are able to cover the middle of the field, that has speed to cover these tight ends and some of these fast slot receivers as well, because this game is constantly changing, and that's something that Corey Littleton can do. He was graded as Pro Football Focus as the best coverage linebacker in the NFL, and I think the LA Chargers should look to target him in free agency. The next player that I have the LA Chargers going after in free agency is cornerback Byron Jones. Now, for the LA Chargers, I think they could use another good cornerback on the outside. They lost Jason Verrett to free agency last year. He walked away from the 40. He walked away, joined the 49ers and things like that. So, other than that, I know that was last season, but I do think the Chargers could use an additional cornerback. I think that's one of the few things that they could use that's already pretty filled. I know they're pretty solid at the cornerback position, but I think they could use another number 2 cornerback, maybe another great shutdown cornerback to majorly improve their secondary. Because if you look at a guy like Byron Jones, you pair Byron Jones up with Derwin James and Desmond King, I think the Chargers might end up having the best secondary in the NFL. Playing for the Dallas Cowboys, he had 46 tackles and 6 pass deflections. So you pair Byron Jones up with Desmond King and Derwin James, the LA Chargers are most definitely going to end up having one of the best secondaries in the NFL. Then plus you look at the 2 great edge rushers that they have in Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram and Jerry Tillery up front. At the defensive tackle position, this defense could be really, really scary. So this is it for players the LA Chargers should look to target and free agency. Like I said, I don't have a quarterback on this list because if I'm the LA Chargers, I would mostly focus on other needs than try to address the quarterback situation in the NFL draft. Try to get a guy like a Tua Tagovailoa or Justin Herbert. The LA Chargers have been heavily linked to Justin Herbert, and they probably won't have to end up trading up for him maybe. So I think the LA Chargers should focus on other needs, addressing the offensive line, filling out the little holes that they have on defense, and then address the quarterback concern and the NFL draft. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thanks for watching.